recently we see more relationship or more relationship between the Western world and the African countries, most especially the France and the United States of America. This new relationship that Africans are seeing of a reason, and the reason is that the Western world have realized that Africa is now bridging the differences or bridging a new mutual relationship with Russia and then the China and some other countries that they call it like BRICS. But the most important thing that the Western world have realized is that Africa is in need of so many things, and for that matter, this new trade business relationship that they can build with Africa will be the opportunity for them to also sell their culture and the norms. I recently posted a video with seeing Kamala Harris going around Africa talking to African leaders to help them build a new crop of economical freedom or economical development to help humanity. But the most important thing these people are doing, nothing comes free. There is nothing in this country or this world that is called free. So this Western world, before they give you something, they have to sell their culture. And their culture is what? Now it is human rights. And human rights, what is the dominance of human right or the component of human right? The content of it is that they want to sell what is called LGBT. Recently, we've realized or we've seen some African countries, leaders, especially Museveni, that is a Ugandan president, and then Kenya president, and Zimbabwe president, who have come to condemn what is called LGBTQ. This culture of our Western world, most especially the Americans, they want to sell this culture to Africa because they believe that they're pushing all this kind of ideology into what is called economical freedom. It is not about human right. It is not about economical freedom, but rather it is about human right. And the human right is to give people their freedom to do whatever they want. And now when you come to America or say the Western world, people who are holding money, who are called the business tycoons, the business people, are the people who has money. They have money. These are the people, they have money. And these people, almost all of them are into human rights. And when I talk about human rights, I'm talking about LGBTQ. Because these are the people, you go to most of the work or the companies in America, you see all these people there. And they are dominating. They are holding even higher position because they get the money. I don't know how this thing happens, which to me does not make sense. Instead of buying to the idea of economical freedom from America and the Western world, say France and some other Western countries, I would prefer African countries leading or aligning themselves with the China or the Chinese or the Russians, because the Russians will not bargain based on human rights. They are bargaining based on business, real business, the economical business, economical freedom, bilateral agreement, trade business. That is what they believe and that is what they do. So I will just entreat all the African country leaders, and especially now, if you could remember just recently when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was having a press briefing with Kamala Harris, a question was posed about this human rights, accepting the culture of what LGBTQ, and the response that Nana Addo gave was emphatically wrong based on the constitution. Because as a president, when a question is posed during a brief press briefing, it is embedded on you that you put up what is enshrined in the constitution. But unfortunately, Nana Addo Dankwa could not end there. He's trying to, because he's trying to please, whether he's trying to please the Western culture or whether he's trying to do what, nobody knows. So we'll be watching such videos of some African leaders, their responses to LGBTQ and that human rights that Americans and the Western culture or Western countries are portraying or putting into African domain. I would rather urge my African countries that please let us stick to our culture. And if somebody will feel like doing something, this LGBTQ system or belief and culture has been in the system for the longest period of time before some of us were all even born. But the point is that we did not propagate or promote it. It is not enshrined in our constitution. And people were doing it, but nobody were crucified. So let us not pamper it. Let us not make it seems to be like it is a culture that we believe in or we love to pamper or to propagate or promote. If somebody feel like you want to do it, let him go and do it. But our culture is who we are as an African. So I will rather please with African leaders that this kind of behavior that is happening must be stopped. We need to conform to the reality of Africa culture. We need not to conform to somebody's trying to help Africa because they want to sell their culture to us. This does not make sense. We need to understand one thing as an Africans. For me, as an ordinary person, to subscribe to America freedom, economical freedom, and what is enshrined in their economical freedom perspective, I would rather trade with China and the Russians. Because these are the people, they don't bargain based on any human right and to an extent of bringing you LGBTQ. Okay? So let us African leaders don't conform to this kind of behavior. This is coming to destroy. You see, if somebody has money and want to help Africa, we need not to conform to your culture. But Western world are selling their culture and their norms. And if we want to follow, then we have a cause to bear. So let us listen to all these African leaders and see their responses and compare to Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo's response and see who has the balls to tell these people who are coming to Africa, to do what? To sell their norms, and one is selling business, one is selling norms and culture. Let's go and listen to them.
To be gay, the LGBT community is illegal. They just want to have equal rights, the same privacy and equality as all other Kenyans do. Is that something that you aspire to for your country?
I want to be very clear. I will not engage in a subject that is of it is not of any major importance to the people and the Republic of Kenya. This is not an issue, as you would want to put it, of human rights or this. This is an issue of society, of our own base as a culture, as a people, regardless of which community you come from. This is not acceptable. This is not agreeable. Those are the laws that we have, and those are laws that are 100% supported by 99% of the Kenyan people, regardless of where they come.
What is your message to Western human rights groups, to President Obama, to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people?
Respect African societies and their values. If you don't agree, you just keep quiet. Let's manage our society the way we see. If we are wrong, we shall find out by ourselves. Just the way we don't interfere with yours.
Do you personally dislike homosexuals?
Of course, they are disgusting. What sort of people are they? How can you go I never knew what they were doing. That's how I've been told recently that what they do is terrible, disgusting. But I was ready to ignore that if there was proof that that's how he's born, abnormal. But now,
dwell on the question of human rights, on the question, for example, of same-sex rights. Never mind same-sex marriage or anything like that that might be in the future. For want of a better word, gay rights, the overturning of laws against homosexuality. Can you promise me today that you will do that?
I'm a constitutionalist. The current provision in the Constitution forbids same-sex marriages and uphold that until that issue in our country is not an issue of the political party.
Not same-sex marriage. I'm talking about same-sex relationships. Never mind, we can put marriage to stuff. I'm talking about same sexual activity.
In our current constitution, it is banned.
Are you going to lead a campaign?
No, I will not lead a campaign.
Why not?
Those people who want that are the people who must canvass for such things, so that if they're able to win majority in amending the constitution, they would amend it. But it's not my duty on that issue to say I want to campaign for this. No.
Of course it is your, with respect, Mr. President, of course it's your duty. It's your duty to uphold human rights as recognised by the United Nations and as recognised by the countries.
It's my duty to obey my constitution.
Correct.
I would not be persuaded to violate my constitution. Currently, my constitution says what I have said. But the constitution does not forbid people with different opinions. They must canvass for the opinions which they have.
So I'm asking for your opinion, both as a man and as president. Are you in favour of changing the constitution on that issue?
No, I am not. It's never a priority in Zimbabwe to deal with that issue. During 2013, when everybody was able to canvass, those who canvassed for that position lost. We go by the majority view of our people. And currently, the majority view is what I am stating.
So you keep Zimbabwe in a different age?
My priorities today, I would grow my economy, right? Increase the standard of life of my people, putting that as a priority. Our priority now of my government is to embrace the international community and say Zimbabwe is open for business. Let people who want to invest in Zimbabwe say this is what they want, these are the constraints they see, and this is what I believe is necessary for us to grow, to catch up with some of the developing countries in our world, in our region.
One more on this. I venture to disagree with you, Mr. President.
That's democratic.
Surely, by changing, whether it's on women's rights, gay rights, whatever rights it is, human rights, surely by changing those, you really send the true message that you're not just interested in money coming in for dollars for business, but creating an equal environment for all. Surely that's a much more powerful message than just asking for a bit of extra foreign direct investment.
It's not a question of having dollars in Zimbabwe. It's a question of development. We must have functional railway systems in my country. We must have functional infrastructure in terms of highways and so on. We must have functional manufacturing sector in the country. I must modernize and mechanize my agriculture in Zimbabwe. I must have a developed mining sector in Zimbabwe. These are the things, as far as I'm concerned, are the issues which my people look at for government to address and facilitate for their development, so that we catch up with...
Mr. Young, so thank you for the question. First of all, we don't have any such legislation here in Ghana. A bill has been proposed to the Parliament of Ghana, which has all kinds of ramifications, which is now being considered by the Parliament. It hasn't been passed, so the statement that there is legislation in Ghana to that effect is not accurate. The bill is going through the Parliament. It's going through the Parliament. The Attorney General has found it necessary to speak to the committee about it regarding the constitutionality or otherwise of several of its provisions, and the Parliament is dealing with it. At the end of the process, I will come in. But in the meantime, the Parliament is dealing with it. And I have no doubt that the Parliament of Ghana will show, as it has done in the past, first of all, its sensitivity to human rights issues, as well as to the feelings of our population, and will come out with a responsible response to the proposed. The legislation was a legislation that is being provided as a private member's bill. This is not an official legislation of the government, but it is one that has been mooted by a handful of private members. So we will see what the final outcome of it. But my understanding from a recent discussion I had with the committee, the substantial elements of the bill have already been modified as a result of the intervention of the Attorney General. We will see what the final outcome will be, and that is the stage at which I will also have the opportunity to prevent.